Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we are going to take on Arack, the god of Universe 5, the god of destruction of Universe 5, and he is a int type enemy. He's pretty tough, but we've managed to find a team that can take him on. We are going to be using a worthy rivals hybrid team with Piccolo as double lead. And we're going to have one of them paired up with Nail, and we're going to have the other one paired up with the tech Caulifla. And then beyond that, we're going to pretty much just have the transforming Vegeta floating. We're going to have Beerus floating to create rainbow orbs. And then we're also going to have, well, yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the majority of the team. We're also going to have MVP 17 floating as a support, so that's really going to be about it for the team build. Overall, this event is pretty tough, like most of the Gods of Destruction events. The main thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to give your team time to really build up that defense, and you need to make sure that you keep a Piccolo on both rotations. The main goal, as always, is if the God of Destruction is doing a super attack, you need to make sure that you move your units out of the way of that super attack. So that's the main benefit of Piccolo. Piccolo obviously allows us to see where these super attacks are landing. This kind of allows us to basically place our highest defense unit in the way, or it allows us to essentially move our weakest unit out of the way, whichever way it is. An important thing is the timing of things like Beerus's active skill, things like making sure you transform the Piccolos at the right time, and all those sorts of decisions. Obviously, you always need a little bit of luck. You don't really get through the stage without a little bit of luck. And just be aware of your unit's passives. You know, things like making sure that Vegeta gets super attacks so that he can stack that defense. Things like the MVP 17, when his damage reduction kicks in, when it doesn't kick in, how many attacks he can take, how much damage he takes. Just try and remember all of these things so that you can obviously stay on top of what's going on. As with all Gods of Destruction, Arack is immune to stunning and sealing, but he can also evade attacks, so it is just one of those frustrating things that you're going to have to deal with. In terms of Beerus, please be aware of when you use his active skill. Remember, Beerus will take a lot more damage on his first hit than he will on his second hit because of how his passive works. And try to get same type of orbs when you can, because that's what's going to assist you with preventing damage. You can see here we are shifting our Caulifla around as best as we can so that we can obviously avoid as much damage as possible. It's better to rather have Caulifla evade a super attack and move off rotation than it is to keep her on rotation just to evade 3 normal attacks. Beerus can handle normal attacks, MVP 17 can handle normal attacks, but they will get you killed if they both take a super. So don't gamble it, like that's just how it is. You can see here we get Caulifla to dodge the super attack. Units like the Piccolos are going to be super reliable in tanking those in the future. What you're going to want to do with Piccolo is you're going to want to make sure that you transform him when he is at about 270 or 280k defense. Anywhere around there, and he'll take double digits from super attacks. If you transform him a little bit earlier, because maybe you are struggling, maybe you need him to transform earlier, maybe you're concerned about a super attack and you need that 40% damage reduction, transforming him at 180 or 200,000 defense is fine. You're just going to be taking 50 or so k on the super attacks from Arack, so just be careful about that, but beyond that you'll be more than fine. Piccolo himself is excellent in terms of damage. Obviously, not necessarily the greatest unit, but just in terms of his overall kit, he really has come in clutch for about 3 of these Gods of Destruction events for me. He's really helped me out with both int ones, and of course he's really helped me out with the Beerus one as well. So overall he's really looking really solid as a unit just in general. But yeah, realistically, this team, once it gets going, you are okay. It's just getting to that point and making smart decisions along the way. Things like using Beerus's active skill properly, things like transforming Piccolo at the right time, like you can see here. I'm transforming Piccolo because I know that we are taking a super attack, and we're going to need that 40% damage reduction because otherwise we are just going to die straight up. So that is just what, like I said, it's one of those things. You really just need to be aware of what your units can and can't do, what their defensive numbers are like, and how they perform overall, because those kind of decisions are going to be where you're going to be able to control the fights and just obviously keep everything in check. In terms of team builds, obviously it's best to always go for the monotype teams. As always suggested, it's really highly advised that you go for monotype teams, that you make sure that your teams are of all one type so that you can take on these units and not have any massive damage done to you. Nail is the exception due to all the benefits he gains. Being with Piccolo, remember, he gains an additional attack and defense of 100%. He gains damage reduction, and just overall, him and Piccolo share a lot of links, so you're gaining a lot of health back. You can see there on Arack's super attack, he does indeed lower attack, which is something that you want to be aware of. Nail cannot take super attacks until he gets to like 700k defense, so please do not use Nail to tank super attacks. It's not worth it. Just do not do it. You can see once again how we're keeping our pairing of Nail and Piccolo, and instead we're pushing the Caulifla off rotation again. She'll eventually come back onto rotation as soon as we can, but it's important to keep your pairing of Nail and Piccolo because the amount of healing that they receive from both being on rotation, the Namekian's link, and from Piccolo's natural passive healing is really high, and that's really going to help you keep your health topped up. You can see here this Piccolo is not transformed and he took 127k or so you can see that big difference in the transformed Piccolo and the non-transformed Piccolo's defense after adding in that 40% damage reduction. In terms of everyone else, Vegeta will be fine as long as you keep getting super attacks with them. Use Beerus's active skill when you need to. If he is taking maybe 2 or 3 super attacks, I mean, you can see he takes 60k on the first, he then takes, close to 38 or so thousand on the second and third. So you really do just need to be aware of when you use that super attack and when you use that active skill, Make sure that Vegeta is super attacking so that he can consistently build up his defense. If you make sure he super attacks every turn, Vegeta should be fine defensively at the end. He may take 15 or 20k off of normals, but he'll be more than okay as long as he's not taking a super attack. So realistically, that's the only thing you need to watch out for. Vegeta himself is a very good source of damage and quite fine as a floater. I mean, you can see here he's not taking a lot of damage. And that's because we're making sure that he super attacks, and that's really important. Other than that, MVP 17 is fine. Don't let him tank super attacks. As long as he has his damage reduction up, he won't get you killed from normals. He takes about 50k from a normal attack, and then with his damage reduction up, he takes significantly less, close to 30k. So a reliable unit, not very tanky, but the defense he provides and the damage reduction he gains at lower health, which we're pretty much always sitting around, is super helpful, of course. But yeah, beyond that, back to team builds. So you can use a Pure Saiyans team with double transforming Vegeta leads, as long as you have enough physical Pure Saiyans. And it's going to depend on what dupes you have in units like LR, Vegeta 2, Vegeta SS2 Angel, and things like that. It's really important that you make sure that you are using a team that has multiple dupes. Units generally need to be able to get to like 180, 190,000 defense or so quite quickly. And you also need to be able to back them with evasion or damage reduction, preferably. The perks of a Pure Saiyans team is you get to run the Strength Kale and the Tech Caulifla as actual units, which is a super powerful rotation that you can use. But other than that, yeah, just use whatever team is applicable to you, whatever team you manage to use, and just obviously try and control the battle. Just make sure that you're building tanky rotations and that you're maintaining the flow and that you keep using the same type of orbs to heal. You can see here we've decided to use Beerus's active skill to try and prevent some damage and just obviously keep ourselves at a registered health threshold. We know what we can and can't control here, so we're just trying to keep everything topped up as best we can. By having Beerus activate his active skill, he takes significantly less damage due to that build-up of that additional 50% attack and defense. Again, you can see the disadvantage of transforming our Piccolo a tiny bit too early. 80k is fine, but realistically we would like both Piccolos to be taking double digits from super attacks. It obviously would help us quite significantly. You can see there Beerus managing to tank double digits after his active skill activation and getting hit once, which is why we activated it. Prevents quite a fair chunk of damage, and you can see we're still left with a third of health with our super tanky rotation coming back up. So we do still have rock solid options. And similarly now with this rotation back up and a whole bunch of orbs on the field, we can adequately heal up quite significantly. You can see there Nail gives us some big healing, which allows us to transform Piccolo, and with that transformation this Piccolo will no longer take any damage, which is really good. And he also gains a lot of offensive buffs. Not only does he gain damage reduction, but he gains a heightened chance to crit and increased attack stats, so it will help us push through the fight a little bit faster. One of those perks of using Piccolo. And of course here one of the nice things is we can of course make sure that we get the Dokkan attack, which will not only allow us to heal up next turn, but it's also going to enable Vegeta, who's going to be able to stack one final time in terms of defense. So we are really rock solid at this point. At this point, I was quite confident of the victory. You do get to the point where you're quite confident of the victory. It does take a while, but short of being left in a super unlucky situation, like something like Android 17 taking 7 attacks in the final slot without his damage reduction active and things like that, there's very little that's going to be able to slow down your push towards victory at this point. You can see that increase in Piccolo's damage. He's got that crit chance as well. So overall, he's going to start doing a lot more damage to Arack. You can see the big difference in terms of defensive build up here, double digits as well. So overall, a really nice team that worked out really well. I did try the Pure Sands team with this, although I found that I didn't have the necessary units. I am missing probably a single dupe in the LR Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta. If you have that unit with a dupe, then you're probably fine in terms of output of damage and defense. I found that he was too defensively weak at 55% unless I got his 12 key, and at that point I'm losing so much offense that it's really not necessarily the most worth it situation. But you can see here we're starting to finally chunk through Arack's final stages of health. Everything seems to be shifting into the correct order, and we're handling our business quite fluidly without too many issues. Additionals from Beerus will help. Obviously this Beerus has a single dupe, so yeah, Beerus as a floater, creating all those rainbow orbs is quite helpful. It's not the worst ability to have, and it actually can be quite helpful in terms of finishing off these enemies and just creating some orbs for us to use. You can see there 51k for Android 17, quite a lot, but by now our units have stacked so much that we can heal really rapidly. I mean, you can look at that, we gain so much health back just from picking up 3 or 4 orbs, that now everything's running ultra smoothly. So yeah, you shouldn't really have any issues from this point onwards. Obviously still be careful, make sure that you continue to make the correct decisions. Don't take any gambles if you don't have to, and ultimately just make sure that you are maintaining your rotations. If you do that, you should be more than fine to go. Like I say, this event pretty much, once you get to this point, your Piccolo, your Nail are so high on defense that, you know, even 2 or 3 orbs basically gives you the ability to like fully heal yourself, to give yourself half of your health back. So it's really impressive at this point. Obviously we got super unlucky with our orbs here, getting the Vegeta orb change while you have Beerus on rotation, essentially just guaranteeing that we get basically nothing in terms of our performance here, but it's all okay. We still managed to obviously maintain our rotations. We should be fine damage wise. Obviously it's a big gamble taking Piccolo off of rotation. That is just something that we have to deal with, because we cannot let any of the other units take that super attack. It's just not going to be advisable. So obviously that is something that we do need to be aware of, but it is just one of those things. So yes, of course we are moving Piccolo off rotation, but we are near the end, so it is something that's okay. We should be more than fine doing it. We take 84,000. We manage to maintain half of our health, which is very good. And we should be able to wrap things up on this turn. In fact, we will wrap things up on this turn. So we'll get some big healing back from Nail and the boys, and we should be able to wrap everything up with the damage from these units. But let me know how you guys are finding the Arack God of Destruction event. Are you finding it to be difficult? Are you not finding it to be difficult? What team build did you use to complete the stage? What units did you find helped you the most? And yeah, pretty much just leave a comment if you are enjoying yourself, if you finished the God challenges, if you haven't. And yeah, just leave your thoughts and opinions down below. But as you can see, we should be able to wrap everything up on our next turn. So we're going to get the victory here. This is going to be the first of pretty much 3 videos, or the second or the third. I'm not entirely certain what order they'll be posted in, but essentially it's a Piccolo week where we're going to see Piccolo and his teams really dominate and push out all of these Gods of Destruction events. So yeah, really awesome, really good time, and we're gonna have Beerus finish everything up, so we'll even get the really cool KO screen. But that's gonna be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like I said before, leave a comment. I always appreciate it when people leave comments, especially about these hard events. And yeah, that was my team build and my run for success on the stage. But as always, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Until then, bye!